Hey Francis, I decided to shoot you a video and I'm going to do several. I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know why have you been avoiding me. I don't know what makes you not want to listen to me. You know, at times I have tried to contact you via text message and I've even tried to contact you via email. If I had any contact um, information for Ginger, I would have done it to her as well. And the same for Rose. Now, I know I've Googled Rose, I've Gmailed her in time past, but for whatever reason right now, it's not coming up when I check my recipients so that I could get the right email address for her. So I'm saying that to say this. I have a lot to say to you. And there's some things I've been wanting to just kind of point out to you to really help you. You have been sitting around waiting for something to happen. And you received from somewhere that because I had seen that's the reason for me hearing what I'm hearing. How so? How so? Okay, you might have heard that I slept with someone or I was intimate with someone. Okay, I'm being brave to put that out there, but I'm asking you something else. You know, Shauna, other young ladies, we've been around the mission. They've had babies all along the way. They have not been looked at by me as nothing but young ladies, whether they are married with a license or married without, because the Bible just makes it simple. When a lady at the well meets Jesus, he told her she had 5 husbands, and the one she was with at the moment wasn't hers. And at him speaking it, without her saying anything, she knew that he was about truth and knew the truth. And she went around telling everybody, is not this the Messiah? Okay? So if us laying down with a man causes us to be married in the terms of God without even this dearth of marriage license, then I don't know what it is that you think about me or any other young lady, and I'm only bringing it up because you said somebody's telling you that you're going to lead young ladies. You're supposed to lead them somehow through some ministry and have your own building, but be living with somebody else. And I'm supposed to go in and out of wherever you live from time to time, but also supposedly be somewhere else at times. And that's very vague. That's not of God. That's not something God is speaking. And the reason why I've been trying to talk to you is to try and help you with your memory of things in church. Now, I do know that from your story, you got several things going on. Something's not right with it. One of the things you have said is that God was dealing with you when you were a child, to the point that he had you to stop hot curling your hair and go down the street and pray for some woman that has cancer. And he kept bothering you to the point that you really had to leave out what you were doing to go do that. Well, I don't know how that sounds to you. I'm going to tell you, to me, that sounds like bull jive. None of my parents, and my parents are older than you, went to church longer than you, and were more steadfast in going to church than you. They went on a regular basis. That's what the word steadfast, that's what I mean by steadfast. They went. Nobody had to pry them. Nobody had to bug them. It was something they did without making a show of it, without being snobby about it, without looking down on folks. And they spoke often, and they did correction right within the church. Sometimes people were out of order, looking like and feeling like they were better than others. If any of us were better, we wouldn't need the church. Now, you have a story. According to you, your story starts in West Virginia. And around the time you become a teenager, you move with your mother to Cleveland and you stay there. Your grandmother was supposedly the one that went to church for you and took you. According to you, when you got to your mother drank a lot and worked at GM and didn't really do church. Okay, that's your story. Then there's other stories like you don't really know Christian music. No church music really. If you do, it's some of this newer stuff and you've had to listen to YouTube repeatedly to learn this stuff. Okay, I'm not knocking that. Some of this stuff I listen to YouTube and learn too. Some on the radio. Some I just learn because I buy it. That I'm not knocking. But it's holes in your story. It's holes in your story. If you don't understand how it don't take year after year after year after year after year after year after year of sitting around to get in the ministry, any part of ministry, something is wrong. I know for a while you seem to have questions. I know for a while you seem to have been a little antsy, also upset and frustrated, and I was right there in the house with you. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I was so busy questioning God about me, supposedly, him having said that I would never work again, that I wanted to know where that comes from. I now know where it comes from. When I did my separation from you in the low, it led me to hearing from the same person you're hearing from. That's a lying person. He's full of lies, and he's using the church heavy. Why? Some people will get up and move faster for church than folks are moving for drugs, sex, lies, alcohol, partying, and everything. Notice how when you don't have your own, you're with people that live any kind of way. Mm. Whether you like it or not. Now, I don't know about you, but I know you lived with Shauna for a while. I know she cooked for you. Well, I put it like this, because she had children and you were there, she cooked for her family, and you and Victoria were able to sit at the same table. If not every day, some days. So I do know this. Shauna's and Ginger's ain't been too much different. One of the main differences, Ginger ain't dating. Robert ain't coming over spending the night. That was one main difference. Now, to really live like you want to, it really requires you having your own place. You're an old lady. You're not disabled, but you ain't put a lot of years into working, so that when it's time for you to retire, you could do a full retirement with the maximum money that you can retire with. And the maximum amount would allow you to have such a cushion that instead of standing somewhere that goes by your income and it's taking 30%, you could have chose somewhere, because I'm just going to throw a price out there that I know is in Youngstown. It's an efficiency there of $361 a month. Your lights and water included. And you might have to do your own furniture. But it came with your own ability to cook if you wanted to, or microwave if you wanted to. Sit on your tail if you want to. Throw a TV in there if you want to. And just chill out and relax. Without having put them quarters in, you may not be at $2,400 a month, $2,500 a month, $2,600 a month. To be honest, with some living in the area that you live in, with that one possibility there, and just a few others I know about, where you could damn near, if you had $2,700, $2,600 a month, even $25,000, most of your rent would be paid out of the part that's not in the 2000s. I know the area well. I studied it. I know how to get around on the bus real good. I could offer you all kind of pointers, but I'm not. You don't want to hear. You're an old woman that's arrogant in your ways. You have a nasty disposition. and an ugly attitude. You smile for Rose, you smile for Ginger, even if you don't like what's going on, and you'll put on a smile for Gail. But I tell you what, it's time for you not to go nowhere and show anybody that God got a position for them. That ain't a God-given position. If it was, all we have to do is walk in somewhere, fill out an application, and after we fill out the application, they tell us when we start, and upon us starting, if we need the orientation, they orientate us. They give us a clock number. We be hitting the clock, whether we're using our finger, our thumb, or just a card. And now cards have changed to, they're not the little cardboard-like card. A lot of them are plastic. But either way, we be punching the clock. For you to be calling yourself in ministry or leading and guiding Victoria, you're way off. You act like you love that girl so much, and you call yourself being protective, but you smother that girl, and that's all you're doing. You're smothering her, and you're choking the life out of her. She done used all of her 20s sitting around waiting on you to lead her somewhere where she could be in ministry. And dang near every time we were in church together, the three of us, you're rushing to get out of there. You're talking about the Lord's telling you to leave. Why it is the Lord. Now here's what you need to think about. Why on earth would the Lord God Almighty, who created heaven, earth, and everything else, and we're the reason why there is church, okay, He is and we are. Because without us, He wouldn't have created it. He created us first, and then all that, He created us after He created the garden, and then He created things for us to do. He knew we had to have things to do. He knew that He wanted us to serve and praise Him. He knew without Him leading and guiding us in that we'd find other things to serve and to praise. Like anything. 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 And there are many false gods in the world. Anything we praise more than we praise Him can become our God. Without it being a name like Buddha, without it being a name like anything, a monk, that like the Dalai Lama or the Pope, without it being anything like that. What you need to take time to do is consider what I'm asking you. Consider what I say. Because I'm not being rude, I'm not being mean, I'm trying to come to you with the Bible wisdom that you don't seem to ever want to get. I have spent more time than the year 2015 in the Word studying it. I grew up in the church. Something you didn't do for Victoria. You stayed in the house, y'all had a little Bible study here and there. And here and there, y'all went to R.A. Vernon's church. And maybe another one, and that's about it. And you've been online. Look at Benny Hinn, Rod Parsley, Brian Carnson, Prophet Manasseh Jordan's son, and whoever else you've been told to look at and watch. And what you haven't done is spent time making choices for yourself. Not like you should. You shouldn't have chose to leave Cleveland if you didn't want to. If you were threatened, you should have told it when you first were threatened. You should have told it to those around you first, because I wasn't in Cleveland when you were saying that you were like, I don't want to go to Nashville. I don't know to go to Nashville. I don't want to go. I willingly moved to Nashville. I know what I did. Because your sister and your would-be brother-in-law moved to Nashville is how I met you. When I met them, I traveled willingly to Cleveland, Ohio. And I didn't know I was going to meet them. But I had heard that somebody wanted to come to Nashville, and that was through Sean. Sean didn't know my opinion and really didn't give a darn for it, so I withheld it. My opinion was they've been better off staying where they were. And the truth is, since they left Cleveland, things have been so rocky and shaky. It's like, why did y'all leave? At the time that they were in Cleveland, Tanisha was at least working. Excuse me. Since she's left Cleveland, she ain't half worked. She ain't. We kind of keep up with each other. And every once now and then when she wants to, she messages me asking me to cash out her some money. Hmm. Hmm. And the question is why? She's a full-grown woman. She's older than me. She's got children. She's got responsibilities she's supposed to be taken care of. Unlike my parent, she let a small headache stop her from going to work. There was a time when I used to go to work with headaches, so-called colds, so-called laryngitis, so-called flu, uh, and I just worked. Like a lot of people, I didn't have money set aside to cover my bills while I take off. Because a lot of Americans don't. Because for years, these companies have made the most money off of us. While paying us the least, they made the maximum amount of money. They make billions every year, and they make sure we only take home a few thousand. Ain't no way in the world a $1 billion company shouldn't, at some point in time, institute a policy where they are raising their own wage to make sure even their poorest employee or their employee with the lowest amount of hours is able to live based on the wages that they pay and also based on the rent. Because some places they pay, and it sounds like a lot of money to make 15 an hour. It ain't if your rent is over 20, it's over $2,000 a month. It ain't if your rent is $1,600 a month. It ain't if your rent is $1,200 a month, because everywhere that rents wants you to make 3 times the amount of rent, no matter what the rent is. So I just told the truth about that. You have received a lie and you've ran with it and you believe that you're right and you're sure and everything's okay on your end, and it's not. I don't know how things are going to work out for you. There's going to be a lawsuit possibly, and in that lawsuit you might be brought to the forefront. Because instead of listening to me and just giving me my money back that you owe me, you want. God ain't telling you to take money from somebody and you don't even have a building where you're taking up offering. God ain't telling you to take money from somebody that was unwilling to give it to you. If you make up a lie before you get my money, then you know something's wrong with you. Here's the lie. God said that you have to give me a sacrifice every time you see me. Where is that in the Bible? I know you ain't heard that at R.A. Vernon. I know you ain't heard that at Rod Parsley, Apostle Benny Hinn, Marilyn Hickney, and nowhere else. Joseph Prince, none. You just run around playing stupid because you're listening to the wrong person. Somebody wants to say wrong voice. It's the wrong person. Anytime you got somebody talking to you, you're wrong to not disclose that to the people around you. As you're a danger to yourself and you are a danger to those around you. That means you don't love us and you know somebody's talking to you as often as they do. At some point you ought to know, based on the life that you live, whether this person is speaking right or speaking wrong. Now this person, I promise you a lot. A big white SUV gonna pick you up. A big white SUV gonna fit all your 10, 12, 15 luggages in it and take you where I want. The big white SUV never came. When you gonna learn that some lies are just lies? Okay. You supposed to be going to a house big enough that Victoria has her own room and is in privacy and is able to just start doing her own hair at that point in time. Okay. We done went through 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and even 2021. And y'all ain't got to that house yet. Y'all ain't living with a person that's already in ministry. What makes you think that people being protective of their money and their households, as they are and have been for years, is going to just open up the doors and let you stay without being around you, getting used to you, taking a liking to you, and then just doing it. Mm. How long are you willing to sit around and not do anything? How long is it going to take you? Is it going to take that you're brought up in a lawsuit that might be too big for everybody that you know and have come in contact with within the last 7-8 years of your life? If the lawsuit is so big that you get hit with a big amount that you owe me, would you like it? It's not a threat. It's a possibility. So I'm bringing up the possibility, not a probability. There's a difference in a possibility and a probability. The only difference is, I guess, in one sense, it's nothing. It's not I'm probably going to do something. I've been trying to do some things that I need to get done for myself to let folks know that they need to abide by the laws that the U.S. government put in place to protect us on these jobs. And if I get my lawsuit in, it's going to help others because I got nieces that went to work. They're my great nieces. And they're being sexually harassed at work. They don't even know that some of this mess is what it is. They might call it teasing. They might call it joking. They might call it playing. Some things at work ain't supposed to be said. Like somebody really messing with you about having menopause. Okay, because that's leading to sexual harassment. It's saying, in other words, you need penis. And I just wanted to put it like that because I'm trying not to be nasty about it. Now, you've been very nasty and rude to me. I don't know if the Lord will allow me to see you. But I'm going to make you a promise. If I see you and you're not doing what you need to do, which is talk to me in a calm, quiet voice, it's not going to go well for you. The police might be standing around and I might knock all shit out of you. Because you've been coming off at me like you my mama and you got reason to be snapping and shit. And you ain't never had shit to snap at me about. You was wrong for even being in the goddamn car at me. And I'm saying it like I really want to say it to you in your damn face. I was taught if you got a problem with somebody, you go and tell them to their face, not talk around about them behind their back. But since you won't answer the phone, I decided to take this direction. Okay? So before you look up and know anything, you're going to be on YouTube. I'm going to put it on Facebook. And I'm going to put it on Instagram. I might go Twitter it as well. Now, with Twitter and Instagram, I know that it can't be no more than 15 seconds. But I'm just going to put it out there and let you know what I'm feeling. Because I'm ready to really just go off on you. You shouldn't be talking. You shouldn't ever talk to me like you have some goddamn nasty-ass attitude with me because you were wrong. When I told you on the way to California that you were coming off like you were my mother, you were trying to come off like that. We have not bonded. We ain't known each other enough for you to be snapping on me. The only one that can click and clown on me would be my mama. And the only time she do it is when I'm in the wrong and not in the right. So you owe me. You owe me for that whole trip. You owe me for the time you spent around me wasting my time. And I want mine. And when I get too much attitude and temper going together, I come to mine. And you ain't going to be able to stop me. That phone ain't going to be able to stop me. You can't rely on nothing called the police. They ain't never been a help to the black folks. I don't know why you call yourself threatening me the first goddamn time. If I'd have thought about going in my car, taking a hammer to that goddamn door, I would have beat the hell out of you for threatening me. I hate that bullshit of hide. You gonna do me wrong and then go hide behind some damn body. You ain't gonna be able to hide forever. That's what I'm gonna tell you. You should have thought about that shit before you done that shit. Because the nigga talking to you, there's a nigga somewhere between Georgia and Chicago. I ain't never told you to sit on your funky ass and act like you the prince or the prima donna or some kind of shit. Or some princess of England. And folks supposed to take care of you and you don't do that shit your own damn self. You damn wrong. You stupid as hell for listening. You stupid as hell. You don't know what kind of shit your ass done got yourself in. And I'm glad you that damn dumb. So I done had my say. Because you stupid. All you gotta do is look in the word. You need direction? Look in the word. Shit bothering you and it ain't going fast enough? Shit, you need to get up and make some changes yourself. That ought to be one key thing about you that you understand. That shit ain't never took all goddamn day in this world. Pastor Benny Hinn, it take all day to get himself in the pulpit and to get his license, and no other preacher did. All you gotta do is follow the right steps. Take your ass to church, stay there forever, and say, I'm trying to answer the call that I believe God put on my life. Somebody might shoot you off for a while, and it might be right. Because you really ain't got no call that God put on your life. Just somebody hyping your stupid self up. Why would you really act like that you want to really be in ministry and you don't want nothing to do with God? You ain't even in church every Sunday. Only time you're in church is if you're in a mission setting and you got to go down because they telling you to go down. And if the opportunity come up for you to go somewhere else, you decide you will go somewhere else instead of go down and just be a part. You're a woman that really had God in your heart. Because if you had it, you go to church without all that stuff. If you had it, you wouldn't have went to church and then got up and want to leave before it's time for the offering. Before everything's done. Before everybody been prayed for. Crazy. Crazy. And you want to act like I'm stupid. I ain't lost my mind just because this nigga decided to start talking to me and it was shocked. Because I ain't know he was talking to you. Even the way his thoughts come from me. Come from him to me. I know that this is a human doing some shit. This ain't no God thing. You ain't caught the sin in it yet? You ain't caught the sin? I'm going to tell you what he want. Your daughter more hippier than you, right? Look a little more curvy than you. All he want for your baby and for you, and he may not have told you yet, is for y'all to go out and have sex. And have sex repeatedly. And all the old men he can send to Victoria, he wanted to have. All the babies he can send her way. Same for you. Drugs and alcohol included. It ain't that sex activated him to talk. He just wanted to talk. And he lied and you received a lie. The more you willing to carry on with that lie and that lie is something that makes sense to you. With Shauna walking around, and I don't know how many men she done had and how many babies she done had, and she done had them all, and you done seen a few of her men. Your son was one of her men, and you acting like it really? Sex really caused him to talk to me? Really? Shit. Okay, when you first met your so-called husband, which is Antonio, Anthony Griffin, whatever, however you want to put his name. I know you call him Tony. Shit, the truth is, you didn't hear that witch then, did you? Because if you did, and it's been that long and you ain't told nobody, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Because you older than me. You should be coming upon the age of retirement. But can't. And if you do, you're going to be way down in your money. Instead of up. But you done use part of your life chasing emptiness and lies. And ain't figured out that that shit is just bullshit. Long enough for you to pick up the phone, call Tony and say, Tony, I want to come back to Cleveland. Or Tony, I want to go to Florida. And stay. And this is what I need. Crazy. Out of all the young women you've been around the mission, they ain't never, ever told you that they hear a voice, and you ain't never heard a voice behind them yourself. And most of them had babies coming in up out of there. So if it was a sex-activated thing, all of us could probably have the same experience, right? Okay, if it's not, then you know some bullshit's going on. You ought to be able to tell the difference. You done had some babies. Our Bible don't say just because you have a baby out of wedlock, because the woman at the well didn't say, I heard voices. She said she saw the Messiah, which was Jesus. It's crazy. believing everything you hear, taking it as this gospel and law, and it ain't even in the Bible nowhere. Ain't supported by God nowhere. Copying the attitude over nothing. Copy the attitude to your own hurt. I'm gonna let you see what plays out and how God works things. Because you owe me. You shouldn't have never stepped on my money. Whether it's 3,000, 4,000, any of it. I'm getting off. I'm getting on the bus.